It's the pop-up show.
It's a pop-up show.
It's the pop-up show.
Pop, pop, pop.
It's the pop-up show.
Pop, pop, pop.
It's the pop-up show.
Something's happening, something's going on.
TTNL back live to get it on.
$7 a month, don't need a coupon.
We worldwide, the flag is waving strong.
Surprising your patient with breaking news.
Bring a whole lot of truth, no pay-per-views.
Could be cars, Shane, or DDB.
Just another branch on this family tree.
The tape never lies like a boy JC.
No narratives allow how we rock the beat.
Breaking news on time, now we ain't no bullets.
Jealous networks make us out to be villains.
Unbreakable truths like a man Bruce Willis.
We stand tall in the city like the Willis.
Tower, over the competition we devour.
Grants every time that the slide will bears our.
I was fall asleep when the apple is bitten. We're taking out the frauds who here to Great Britain. You can't run that eye, brother, who are you shin? Patrons of the truth, this network spin.
Old man reporting live from the dungeons. We keep it real, we chopping onions. Bears Nation on the rise, be on the coverage. Hot off the press, hot fresh out the oven. It's the pop-up show.
Pop, pop.
It's the pop-up show.
Pop, pop, pop.
It's the pop-up show.
The pop-up.
It's the pop-up show.
Pop.
It's the pop-up show.
Pop, pop.
It's the pop-up show.
What?
It's the pop-up show.
Pop, pop, pop.
It's the pop-up show.
TTNL.
Breaking news. The tape never lies. Network breaking news.
Pop. And we're off.
Pop. We're
We
off.
have a new linebacker in Chicago, TJ Edwards. We are now the Wisconsin duo.
The Badger backfield.
Sanborn replaced this guy in Wisconsin. Very, very athletic linebacker. Yeah, we got the Wisconsin duo, TJ Edwards, formerly of the Philadelphia Eagles, 3-year deal in Chicago. I'm a fan. I know
too.
There's two ways to take Brad Bigg's tweet. You could allude to the fact that maybe the Bears were going to bring in Edwards and Okereke, or one or the other. I would be shocked if it's both, but we'll see.
Well, clearly they have a need there because, you look at this roster, who do they have at linebacker? They got
Sanborn.
That's it.
Yeah. Yep.
So I wouldn't be shocked if they went doubled down on this. Edwards, obviously slick.
Well, the Sanborn, the Sanborn is a Hall of Famer crew is going to be very disappointed if that's the case. But listen, on a good football team, there's nothing wrong with Sanborn being your third linebacker. I know people, Chicago Bears fans especially.
They play with three. And Sanborn, listen, competition breeds success. The Chicago Bears open up free agency, and they identify someone in the front seven. That's really where you got to go here. Obviously, you traded Roquan Smith last year. If I would say offensive line, then linebacker was your weakest. And defensive, I would say third weakest would be linebacker, with Sanborn coming out of his shell there to show everybody what he brings to the table. But in TJ Edwards, Shane, the Bears are going to get somebody that obviously shoots these gaps, that understands his assignment and flies to the football. If you saw what he did,
needs a helmet that fits, but we can work with that.
Well, I think this is just after putting Patrick Mahomes down on his ass. His helmet's down.
Yeah, I mean, he fits the athletic. He's a physical and athletic freak. He's going to be.
Go back to his RAS numbers. I think fans where's Anthony Gordon when you need him? Because Anthony's always on a RAS. I love Anthony. Shout out to you. If you're just tuning in, this is the pop-up show here today. People are reporting Hargrave to the Bears. Shane in the chat. I haven't heard or confirmed that, but that would be great. You get 2 Eagles for the price. But you get TJ Edwards.
So, yeah, here's an update. TJ Edwards gets a 3-year deal for $19.5 million, $12 million guaranteed. So that's, to me, is an absolute home run deal. You're talking $100 million for Roquan Smith versus $19 million with $12 million guaranteed for TJ Edwards. Sign me up all day long.
Say it again. 19 million.
Diana Rossini is saying that the Chicago Bears are targeting San Francisco 49ers right tackle Mike McGlinchey. The two sides are talking and hoping to commence a deal shortly.
I don't know if Nick has.
And I just want to say this, guys. I don't want to hear your fake sources. I don't give a shit if you're a patron or who you are in the chat. If you want to report bullshit, you will be gone from here. We will bounce you. Stop with that nonsense.
Listen, there's a huge need at linebacker with Thomas and what was his name? I always confuse his name from Banks to Dave. The 44, Shane. What was his name?
Say again.
The Bears, number 44.
When are we? Oh, from before? The guy we traded up for?
Last year. The kid from.
I'm blanking. I'm not sure.
Adams. See, I always.
Oh, right. Okay, Matt Adams. Yeah.
So you got Adams. Thank you guys in the chat. My mind just went blank because
mine is too because my phone's melting.
I had to put my phone on my lap because I don't want to annoy any listener with the bzz, bzz. But Adams, you had Matt Adams last year, who I thought brought a lot of thunder, but he's average at best. You could see the dip. And when you go back to what you just said, I think fans have to put that into perspective here. $100 million paid out to Roquan Smith as an off-the-ball linebacker. Here you get a kid from Illinois, from this area, right? And
so here's one more thing, Phil, and this just showed you. This is Brad Spielberger from PFF said, incredible value for the Chicago Bears. They just secured 3 years of TJ Edwards for 1 year of what Roquan Smith is currently making. It's not even close, Phil. Listen, and this isn't a slight on Roquan. We understand it. Cars looks like the king of the hill projecting, saying value, value, value. When you want to hear value, that's it right there, 110%. 3 years, 19 million, or 5 years, 100 million. Big, big difference.
TJ Edwards came from Wisconsin, right? You're looking at 6'1", 242 pounds.
He's from Chicago. He grew up a Bears fan.
So if you get someone in here that loves the Bears and you get them at the price that Shane is talking about, value and all that stuff, you know how I feel about value. Get it good, but get good players. This is a good fucking player. This is a guy that can scrape and get to the football and get to the football fast. I think Johnny Santino, one of our favorite patrons, has a RAS score on him, 9.48, Shane. So here's a kid coming out of Wisconsin, high-end athleticism. It's going to give the Chicago Bears that move and flow. It does not mean Sanborn is gone. Sanborn can man the middle. Edwards, I know, played middle, or they could play Will. Because there's no denying.
Here's Ian Rappaport.
Yeah, I would have told you about it.
DJ I didn't know the tweet was coming, man.
TJ Edwards, the Eagles standout linebacker, is signing a 3-year contract with the Chicago Bears. The Bears who have the most cap space made, maybe the biggest move of this past week. now make another big move. Of course, general manager Ryan Poles is going to be active in free agency. We know that. It is just 17 minutes into the opening of the window. The Bears already on the board. Linebacker was a key spot for them, no doubt about it. With so many linebackers,
he's also reporting that the Bears are in on offensive lineman Isaac Siamolu from the Philadelphia Eagles. Direct
Another
connection.
Eagle. Could we get 3 Eagles?
Cunningham.
We get 3.
Yeah.
Hargrave as well.
Address Marlon there so we can laugh, but go ahead.
Listen, Marlon, the reality of what I saw on Roquan was completely different than what the national narrative saw on Roquan. Good player. He was not a game changer to me. And that's really what it is you want to see and pay that kind of money for. Brian Urlacher, Ray Lewis, these guys were game wreckers. Roquan Smith wasn't a game wrecker. I'm sorry. If that hurts people's feelings, well, you probably should go watch soccer because honestly, that's really what it is, the reality in this situation. Maybe we can make it 4. My boy Don Diz from Connecticut. If you got Gardner Johnson in here, you're looking at we're looking for pricks, is what Ryan Poles said, right? And getting TJ in here.
He's from Lake Villa, Illinois.
Lake Villa, Illinois, Bears fan. There's something to be said when a player comes from the area or roots for that team or understands the reality of what is expected of a Chicago Bear. Like, we had Blazing Game and Darrington Evans, friends of the show, come on here saying, whoa, it's 3 below here. Look at all these freaking Bears fans out here on a 3-win football team. When you get players that understand that part, that's just a cherry on top. That's just a cherry on top. And if you get Siamola, Shane, I mean, interior offensive lineman that's going to blow off the football.
Well, this brings in the interesting thing, Phil, is we talked about this. We didn't touch on it on the show too much, but privately you and I were talking about, you bring him in, is he your left guard, and now Cody Whitehair is back to being your center, or are you moving off of Cody Whitehair completely?
I think you approach Cody Whitehair and say, listen, we need you to compete at center. We're going to move you to center. We know you can jump to guard, but when we watch the tape and the center position is missing or is getting blown back or false steps or missed assignments, you're not going to win. You're going to stay a 3-win football team. The center is so important. So how they view it, how, Doug Kramer, Dieter Eisland, 2 guys that we like, how they have to say in it matter nothing right now. They don't matter because you need to build competition at the offensive line position to get the best 5 out there. Everybody should be in pencil except the guys that you sign right now, because clearly you're putting them in as you change the culture of what it is you're trying to do offensively. Last year, they signed Lucas Patrick. He's in pencil. You don't know what is the next move that you're going to make here. And also, you set yourself up now at 9 in the draft to find another blue chip offensive tackle. So say you sign McGlinchey today and you put him at right tackle. Does that stop you from? Does that stop you from?
Phil, there's nobody on this. There's nobody on this offensive line. Like I said, it's not a slight to Braxton. It's not a slight to Mike McGlinchey. It's not a slight to any of these guys. You have to do. If the team that's in the Super Bowl, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs, can have fantastic players and draft high-end offensive linemen to back them up to improve the quality of their team overall, then why can't the Bears? If the Bears get to number 9 and they don't have a trade down and they're sitting there and they feel that Broderick Jones or Paris Johnson are the best guys available, then you simply take them. It's People overthink this way too much. Are you better moving forward with Mike McGlinchey, Braxton Jones, and Paris Johnson or Broderick Jones? Yes, you are. You do it.
I totally agree with you. I look at, my board. I'll just let you know, if you're not a patron, you need to sign up today. The reality of this trade, Shane, of DJ Moore and how important he was, as it now, all of the leakage comes out of the stable now. Everybody's starting to understand why. And I think a lot of people are surprised. I mean, I'm taking my sons to the bus stop today, and my neighbor, who's a Jets fan, is like, damn, you guys got a haul there. And now you got a number one receiver. Look at this. Because you're going out of your way to sign a football player that's going to help you always and forever. Always and forever. That's what you're trying to do. Find a number one wide receiver. Now you're not hitting free agency to spend it. You got him at a great price, but you also have an immense talent. If you're a patron, we went over and broke down DJ Moore's tape yesterday. So you would want to go over there to the tapeneverlies.com. Check that out. Where, listen, I took 8 games of his and just showed you this kid plays every offensive position from slot to flanker to split end, X, Y. And he's going to do anything in his power to make a play for you. That's a dog. You found a dog. So the big ordeal in free agency spending is avoided because you got yourself the best one that would have hit in free agency. Now you got to build this offensive line. The Bears, obviously, nothing has been reported yet. Obviously, Rossini's talking about they're talking with. I think
Greg Gabriel is now reporting that the Chicago Bears are trying extremely hard to lock up defensive tackle Draymond Jones, but he's not sure if it gets done. There's a massive market. Cleveland cleared $36 million this morning, reworking the contract of Deshaun Watson so they can implode their team later with his $65 million cap hits for the next 3 seasons. But so there's some more news coming in there. It's going to be
going to be expensive.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You have and people were talking. Brad Biggs reported, hey, maybe you just pivot and go get a 1 tech and wait until the draft for your 3 tech, and that's a big mistake in this defense. You can't listen. Just like we said with Broderick Jones and Paris Johnson, if you go out and sign Draymond Jones, and let's just say at number 9, you're sold on Jalen Carter and the off-field stuff, or Lucas Van Ness, then take them. If they're the top guys on your board. Depth is critical in the NFL. Exactly. Offensive line, defensive line, you can never have enough. Phil's 100% correct.
You got to get those 2 positions, those 2 sides of the football. It all starts up front. You hear this all the time. The Bears were terrible on the defensive line, and they were terrible on the offensive line. So what do? You make a trade. You set yourself up with tremendous draft picks and a haul to set yourself up and how you're going to do it. At the same time, you get a 1 next year to protect yourself business-wise at any position, because that gives you 2 in next year's draft. And then all of a sudden you go into free agency with all of this money, identifying players that are going to fit your scheme, whether it's, Stu Dog, I'm just throwing you out there, or Chuck Reed, whether they know him or not, you have to identify. You're not trying to win the freaking title of names. You're trying to win with talent. I love this kid from Detroit, John Kaminsky. Just watching his tape and how he beat the Evan Livers shit out of the Bears line stunk. So I go and watch him against the Vikings. He beat the shit out of them. Then I watch him against another team. He beats the shit out of them too.
Do you want
that
to
checks boxes. I don't
you
know
wanna
where he's
add-
gonna go.
Do you want to add this local product?
Yeah,
See what
sure.
his thoughts are.
What's up,
There
guys?
he is. He's not even. We're not even going to make fun of you for not having your phone horizontal, Ivan. It's fine.
Oh, jeez. How's that? Can
So
you first of all
There
can you hear me first of all?
Yeah, no, it sounds
Yes,
good.
we can
Okay,
hear you.
perfect.
So
Yeah.
we're assuming you saw the news. What do you think?
Okay, I mean, to start, that's fine.
Yep.
You're gonna definitely need more. About Draymond Jones, like, you know, you're always gonna overpay in free agency. I just don't think that Ryan Poles is gonna go and do something ridiculous.
Yeah, he'll have a limit,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, exactly. So there's gonna be a ceiling for him, regardless. As far as the 3-tech, I mean, we ourselves, especially on Draft Mob, we have a couple guys that are, you know, identified as guys that could be a great fit for the Bears. Phil loves Cansey from Pitt. There's still people, you know, with Carter. Obviously, Carter's a great talent. I don't know what's going to happen with him, you know, legally, but that's neither here nor there. We have to find out later. But as long as Ryan Poles sticks to his MO, doesn't overpay, and doesn't, you know, just doesn't make a dumb move, I'm all for whatever he's going to do next, because the trading that number 1 pick had me jumping for joy. I know I couldn't jump on the pop-up when that happened, but just making a move like that, my confidence has just jumped up in Ryan Poles this year.
You gotta love it. I gotta ask you, Lakes Community High School in Lake Villa, Illinois, is where TJ Edwards played his high school football at, and then he went to the University of Wisconsin. Tremendous athlete, as John Centino shared. We always look at these RAS scores, the relative athletic score, to showcase there is a huge pattern with Ian Cunningham and Ryan Poles. They love to see that athletic scores, size, length. You kept hearing it at the combine. At 6'1", 242, how they're going to play him. Are they going to play him at will or Mike? I know Eberflus is going out of his way to say they're interchangeable. They're interchangeable. Well, maybe they were interchangeable with the potpourri of linebackers that you have.
Breaking news. The Tape Never Lies Network. Breaking news.
This just in, Alan Bratcher has won $7 at the Senior Center on bingo.
G42.
Everybody in the chat just shit their pants. Oh,
everybody! I thought there was a signing. Here we go. Alan Bratcher, bingo. Yeah. So your first swing at the plate, they identify someone in the front 7. This is a quality starter. All you have to do is turn on the Super Bowl tape to watch this guy do his thing inside. Just an excellent athlete. Just comes off the football, loves to scrape, stack, and stick. Those 3 S's that I want to see. And we talked about the huge savings versus what it was that you would have been paying for Roquan Smith. So I don't want to invest in an off-the-ball linebacker.
We do have some legit news here from Brad Biggs.
Yes.
The Chicago Bears addition of TJ Edwards will not preclude the Bears from still pursuing Bobby Okereke, who's the weak side linebacker. Edwards figures to the slot at middle. Edwards' arrival means Jack Sanborn will likely compete as the strong side backer.
Or Sanborn says, fuck you, and competes and starts. That's the reality of what you should be building here with the Chicago Bears.
Yes.
It's exactly what you should be building. Because I'll tell you right now, watching Sanborn, it wasn't a fluke. The guy's instincts and everything versus his RAS score was tremendous, and that's where he made his plays. I mean, you couldn't argue that. Couldn't argue. He was better.
But Phil, on a good team, Jack Sanborn as your third backer is fantastic.
Cooking with gas. Listen,
I know
I love competition. I think it's the best thing possible. The Bears have been politic Bears, Gestapo Bear. They've been run by Ted Phillips into the fucking ground.
Yeah, Jerry Angelo would have not signed any. They would have said he's the next. That's fine. We're covered. He's not making any money.
Maybe we'll draft one in the draft.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But here they're going, hey, we know what this Mike linebacker from Philly is going to bring to the table, and we're going to invest in it. And I'm sure our next guy is going to double down more articulately, see, than I can about what this means for the Chicago Bears in regards to the cap value versus what you would have paid. I mean, look at what you would have done. You guys joke about me winning and all that fighting for that, and then the Bears get the first overall pick, and we know the story. What would the Bears be doing had they paid Roquan Smith all that money? Let's bring in this guy, Shane. You know him.
Real quick as we bring him in, Ben Powers is close to agreeing to a deal with the Denver Broncos. Somebody that I know a lot of Bears fans were
that
involved
would bring
with.
My guy from the Broncos maybe over here. Although we're talking about
the Bears, Mike Garafolo said that the Bears are very much involved with Isaac Seumalo from Philadelphia. So that would, obviously
that would come as a Whitehair cut, right? So that would be, as a cap influx, that would mean Whitehair gone.
Right, and that's what we were talking about. I mean, your only other option with him would be to say you're going to go move back to center.
I think that ship has sailed. I think they'll look.
Yeah, because what is it, 14 million cars for Cody?
Whitehair is, I think he's about 10 or 11. Let me look again. So he's not bad, but all of that is instant savings for us because it doesn't.
You're essentially given the guarantee. If you remove him, you've essentially.
You're right. It is 14. I'm sorry. It's. Yep.
Yeah. So, but I mean, but the TJ Edwards deal only has 12 million in guarantees over 3. I mean, if you told me before free agency opened that you could come away with TJ Edwards for 3 and for 19 and 12 million guaranteed, I mean, I think, what did Spotrac have him?
13 and a half a season. 13 and a half a season. So
wow.
It's 27 years old as well. So you
super young. I mean, what's really interesting is, again, if you compare that to Roquan, right, and over the 3 years before they have an out, that's $60 million to Roquan. They are paying him in the third year $22.5 million before they can finally get out. So this money, again, this is why we always say you don't pay off the ball linebackers to get someone with TJ Edwards size production for value. These are the moves that you win with, right? These are the wins that you say, because this doesn't take you out of any additional signing. If you go out and sign Okereke right away, who supposedly was wanting 12, and I know the rumors don't mean anything, but all of a sudden, right, you're handicapping you from other positions. So it's a big win. I think the difference here is TJ is definitely at the mic. Roquan wanted the weak side. So it's just a really great opening salvo. They didn't rush, they didn't overpay, they didn't panic. It's a win for us all the way around.
Yeah. I agree. Phil, real quick.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna take off, guys. I gotta get back into it. I'll see you guys later. Hopefully more exciting news to come. Have a good show.
Bingo.
Right, absolutely.
Bratcher won $7 at the senior center cars right before he got here.
Oh boy, good job, Bratcher. I mean,
you're getting a free agency frenzy here at TTNL. Again, all of these players we will break down with the tape. If any of the tackles signed, we'll be ready to break them down today.
We know McGlinchey will be here before this day is over. I think that much is settled. Yeah. I would expect no more. Again, just like Edwards, a 3-year deal. So it's not a move I'm necessarily in love with, although it's an upgrade, but I think they're going to limit their exposure to him and say, this is a 2-3 year deal at max until we can find the next young kid to come in replace. I don't know what you guys feel, but I just feel like if it's more than 3 years, I'm unhappy. If it's 2 to 3 years, I can understand and stomach it a lot.
On McGlinchey, you're talking.
On McGlinchey, yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, totally agree. And Cars, that's the thing. Phil and I talked about it before you got here. If you can't trade down from 9 and you're sitting there and Paris Johnson or Broderick Jones are the top guys on your board, none of these guys, it should preclude you from still drafting these guys.
No, and I think that really factors massively into the negotiations, right? Like that's the card that they'll hold over McGlinchey. Like, hey, if this is what you want to be here, we still could be replacing you pretty quickly. So if you see a 3-year deal for him, the big number is going to be all the guaranteed money in year 1 so that they can cut away from him at that point. So I think it gets very, very interesting for how it's going to play out. But again, $6.5 million. If folks weren't paying attention, I was laughing all day when we last kind of did this, talking about the trade. Teams do not have cap space. So when everybody started throwing around all these numbers, it was like everybody's going to be making $15 million plus a year who signs. Right. There's just not the cap space to do that. And so as the Bears, who have the cap space, if they're not overspending, it doesn't look really well for the other guys to really go capture that massive payday.
I totally agree with what
Massive, yes.
129 is saying.
Right.
Okay, this is where I get a little anxiety. You know what I'm saying? If the big fish is in the ocean, I want to go after the big one. And that would be Orlando Brown. I think that he would be the guy that really sets the pillar of the left side. Now, here's my concern, that pride or politics is getting in the way, and they really like the future potential of Braxton Jones. And they know that Orlando doesn't want to play right tackle. So they go out and fill a huge need, irregardless, and it's an upgrade. But my first strike against Poles would be, no, fuck that. Best man wins. Orlando's left tackle. You got to work your ass off, get stronger, get better, and you could play the right tackle. If you're a competitor and want to start, that's what I want to see from
Nick. That's not what he's not saying that he's out. It's how you build your football team.
Where am I saying he's out?
Yeah,
I'm saying he's out of the starting position 100%. But I'm not saying he's off this roster. He has the opportunity to say, listen, I like a lot of what Braxton Jones is, but I can put on his tape right now, and you guys would say, wow, we got to get better. Like, don't recency bias this. Oh, he started all 17 games. Great. That's what they did. He started all 17 games at left tackle. That ain't a stat for me. How did he play? How did he improve? Is he getting stronger? He makes those things. For me, McGlinchey is a good player and a definite upgrade. I would probably take Jawan Taylor over him if I was choosing, but I like what I see with McGlinchey, and I have tape that we could look at and show you some of the flaws that he's going to bring. But again, it's a huge upgrade, Cars.
So I think, though, the Bears aren't in the market to go spend. And from all reports, Orlando wants to go reset the market at $30 million a year, and the Bears are just not going to pay that. So I think that's really the bigger thing, because if they go spend 30, yes, they're getting better, but there's a lot of other holes on this roster that are not going to get impacted or help because of that. So I think that's the concern. My concern with the two guys at right tackle McGlinchey is a great run fit. He's a concern at pass block. Taylor is a great pass block fit. He's a concern at run block. If you could mesh the two together, you would have a really good right tackle. But either way, you're upgrading, but it's not going to be a complete guy. So, it's going to be really interesting because I think we saw a few reports today that Laramie Tunsil could be on the market. And so the Bears could be sniffing around that, and you're thinking $18.5 million for him at that point, as opposed to it. There's.
Don't you think if he's traded though, that's going to come with the expectations that you're going to make him the highest paid left tackle?
For the Bears, that works out better because they could take his year one. The other. Sorry to go on a quick diatribe. But the Bears only have $81 million in assigned cap for next year. So the idea of taking his $18 million right now, slotting it in, and then kicking off an extension in year 2, where that first big fluff of money comes in, that's the other thing the Bears have to be looking at doing. Is you're going to see, I feel like, some of these deals where some of them are going to be more loaded at year 1. Some of those are going to be more loaded in year 2, and they're going to do their best to balance these things out across, because the only 4 guys that they really have under consideration for extensions at this point are Mooney, Claypool, Kmet, and Jalen Johnson. So that's go ahead.
Kevin Fishbane just he's linking an article from The Athletic talking about TJ Edwards, talking about him growing up. It says he's tailgated in a Devin Hester jersey, waited over an hour to meet Brian Urlacher, and completely idolized Lance Briggs growing up. Now he's a Chicago Bear. So that's a very underrated aspect of all of this, is a guy that clearly wants to be here for his team. And I mean, that's a guy you're going to get every ounce out of. And who knows? I mean, Cars, if I told you before free agency started that we'd lock in TJ Edwards for 3 for 19.5 and 12 million guaranteed, I think if you put that on Twitter, everybody laughs at you.
It's a massive win, and especially with the need, right? And again, it's if you get similar production out of TJ Edwards for a fraction of the price, these are the little moves that help you make. And if you guys watch Philadelphia at all last year, the guy was all over the field, right? Yep. This isn't just because he was all over. He was very active. I think he had 7 pass deflections as a linebacker last year, which is a really good number for a middle linebacker. He's all over the place. So to get that at that dollar value, it's massive. I think that my bigger takeaway right now, if you look at Lidstrom getting 5 for 105 from the Falcons. And you look
Ben Powers 4 for 52 and 28?
And 28 guaranteed. So when Tooney set the market 2
Powers
years ago,
is signed now?
Yes, Powers is signed. When you look at both of those moves, the guard market is internally up, because think of all these teams focusing on interior pass rush now. Now guard is starting to finally become that premium position also on the line.
One shy Deshaun is 100% right. Smash the like button and do us a favor. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you're really into this shit, more so than any other network out there, I can guarantee the details are going to be legit in tape, breakdown and analysis, as well as statistical analysis with my guy right here at Bears Nerd, breaking down the cap and all of the ramifications of what these signings are going to mean as the Chicago Bears open up free agency frenzy, the tampering period. We always have to remember that some of these things and come out, and all of a sudden there's a change of heart. And a guy says he's going somewhere until it's signed on the dotted line. Is it a done deal?
Has anybody checked in on Logan Frost? If they sign Okereke? Sanborn is going to be.
I don't know who
check
Logan
in on
Frost is. We'll find out. So there are multiple sources. I find this really interesting right now that Denver is having trade talks with not just Cortland Sutton, but also Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler. So as this is kicking off, Denver they're asking high prices for all of those, but Denver is very active right now in trying to recreate the roster. So that's another one to watch out for.
We will break down the TJ Edwards tape later this week as free agency hits and show you what he's going for our patrons and show you what he brings to the table. If there is a McGlinchey or Orlando Brown signing, we'll possibly, wink, wink, go to the tape today live here on TTNL, the best Bears network and show on the planet here. We're popping up live here today on the pop-up show with Bears Nerd, our guy Matt Carstensen, as well as the smartest man, Shane Marsaw, and myself. We're here.
So the
Packers
and I will
cut either one of you off whenever the fuck I want. So screw any fan. Oh, go ahead, Cars.
Hold on. Let me just make sure. There we go. So now that he's muted, the Packers have signed a kick returner for $6 million a year, the same amount that we're paying our linebacker. Yeah. So, it's always a good start to free agency for the Packers when your first move is to re-sign Keshawn Nixon for $6 million.
Hey, that's where they end up. I know news out there, you're a Bears fan. I know it's hurting my heart. Rumors having David Montgomery going to Denver so far. Those of you asking in the chat.
Denver or potentially Atlanta were the two names that Brad Biggs was reporting on. They said that.
But again, this is a strategy you guys talked about. Get an offer, go back to the Bears, say this is what they're offering, and see what comes of that. Sometimes that's how these things
business.
No place like home. Didn't somebody say that?
Yeah.
If you are clicking your ruby slippers right now, Phil, I am so sad we cannot see that.
Yeah.
That's devastating.
If you're expecting him back, there may be a house landing on you pretty soon. Your little toes are going to curl up. But
I want to be the lollipop kids, Shane.
Yeah. Well,
we're the lollipop kids today as we break down news. If you're just waking up or whatever you're doing, the Bears have signed former Super Bowl second runner-up linebacker TJ Edwards to the Chicago Bears. It's a very team-friendly deal, and I think it's an appropriate deal for the position in itself.
It's widely being praised from people that are actually stunned at the way that the numbers came in for him.
Speaking of stunned, David Onyemata is getting a deal worth $12 million from the Falcons. So Draymond Jones's dollar amount probably just went up again. The DT market is exploding at this point. And listen, I love Daron Payne, but to give him that amount of money up front and pay him more than Donald is insane. So I think we're close. I was hoping to get Draymond somewhere around 17, 18. I have a feeling that number is closer to 20 at this point.
Jeez. What was his deal?
So David Onyemata who's 31 next year.
31
is $12 million a season. They don't know the full things in the deal, but it will come in for about $12 million. So Hargrave, Jones, and Allen all have to be sitting there licking their chops right now with the amount of money they're probably.
And I believe Draymond Jones' agent is Drew Rosenhaus, and he's going to get every penny. If you have a guy that's coveted by multiple teams, Drew ain't settling.
Listen,
I'll tell you that.
At this point, the 3 technique is huge. You saw how terrible the Bears were at the position and rotating them in there. They had our guy they picked up from the Vikings. God, I just Antoine, what's his name? The 3 tech the Bears picked up from the Vikings.
Armand Watts.
Armand
Watts.
Armand Watts. Then you had Angelo Blackson rotating in there. And listen, I like the potential upside of Armand, as you know, he's got a lot of stuff to work on. That was a priority signing with Ogunjobi. And now I think they got to be in big time conversations. I don't think it takes a source to tell you with Draymond and Hargrave. You need to get one of those two in this building at that position, at that 3 technique. And so you open up the draft at 9 for yourself. That really protects you. That's what free agency is. And you have all this money to do it. I get where the market is telling you where it is. So don't start worrying about the money, guys. It ain't your money anyway. I'm not talking to Shane and Cars. They heard me for years say that. I'm talking to you fans. I'm tired of getting pushed around, again, nollywalked on Sundays, right? So you got to go out there and improve at that position, especially how Eberflus ranks it in importance. And that's where you are right now.
So, and the top, hold on, Shane. And remember, the Bears have to spend to get to a cash floor, right? So, yes, they're going to overpay. Yes, it sucks, but they have to anyway. They have to spend, I think it's somewhere around 100-ish, 110, 120 million to hit the cap floor. Otherwise, they're cutting a check to the league for what they don't do. So, yes, this is really big. I understand you always overpay for the big names in free agency. So I think you just got to figure it out.
I totally agree. What did Payne get per year?
22.5, I think, is roughly what it is. It was 4 years, 90 million with 60 guaranteed. So yeah, it's roughly 22.5 a season. And listen, I love him.
Of course I'll have a rant, a positive rant. I'm always getting a rant. I mean, come on. And we ain't going undefeated next year. I'll let you know that. So let's just be honest. I don't give a shit. You got to get a 3 technique in there. Even if it's a Sheldon Rankins, someone that's going to be a veteran disruptor of that line of scrimmage and have the kind of understanding of what you do philosophically. You have to get somebody in there that's going to get there. I don't personally like Onyemata, so good. He's with the Falcons. But I know the Chicago Bears, and if you don't, I just don't think you go into the draft needing one. Now you're showing your hand, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And I think for folks that look at it and say they don't want to pay Draymond Jones, they would have been okay to pay Daron Payne. Let's understand one thing. In 5 years, Daron Payne has 26 sacks. In 4 years, Jones has 22. Right? So when you look at these numbers and where he's ascending, this is one of those things where Draymond is 26. He'll be 26 throughout the season until the playoffs. He's still a young ascending player. And so you're betting that he's going to take that and continue to grow. So I think that's why you do it. Before this season, Daron Payne had been sort of a nice player, but he hadn't lived up to expectations. He exceeded those, and he finally met those this year. That is what the Bears will be betting on if they sign him, Draymond Jones, this offseason.
Well said. I totally agree with you. You look for those niche players that are ascending. I brought up a guy Kaminsky from Detroit. He was with the Falcons. He floated here, he floated there. Now all of a sudden he's become a professional. He's lifted. He understands defenses and what coaches are looking for on game day, what it is you got. So you're watching this kid in Denver, Draymond Jones build on his talent, you get to another level of what it is you're trying to do defensively. And if that means you're paying him more than whoever believes is worth at the end of the day, you have to decide, I needed to get this guy into our program, and we were battling with another team. And listen, we might have had to pay him a little bit more, but we always could push that forward. We always could push that forward. We don't have to.
We have the cap space now to do it. So
exactly.
That's exactly why you do this, right? This is you don't go doing that for a 30-year-old, but you do that for a 26-year-old that's still ascending. That's just the way you do it these days.
So we had the wrong RAS score up.
Did we?
Or I mean, they had sent the wrong link. Yeah, it's the RAS score coming out for TJ Edwards and precisely why he went undrafted. It's not great. Overall RAS 2.75.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's what brings him back. What was Sanborn? Was he?
I think he was higher. He's in the 5s.
Yeah.
Was he? Well, but I mean,
but you saw what he.
But he's been proven within the league now. So I mean, you have to kind of look at that. With
it goes back to what did I just say? I'm using John Kaminsky as a
Centino. It's good. It's all good, John. We'll blame it on Bratcher. It's fine.
Where's Claudio's? I fucked up drop. That's what we need here. But here's Chris Zorich reacting to John Centino. Hold on. There you go.
Jared Stidham is off to the Denver Broncos for a 2-year deal for $10 million.
Going to back up with his former OC in New England.
Yep.
Jack Sanborn was 7.35.
So that's much
there
higher.
You go. And listen, as I was talking about with Kaminsky, a guy that worked on his craft and a pro, this kid has worked on his craft. He clearly, on tape, as Coach O would say, times in underwear is great. How do they run in game? What does game speed look like? We're going to take a look at Mr. Edwards, but I could tell you right now, I know a lot of Eagles fans, and they've been texting me all morning like, fuck you. We love this dude. And the Bears, getting that history. And I think there's something to be said. Like I said, from Illinois, grew up a Bears fan. And when you attach yourself, you hitch your wagon to somebody that understands the importance that it is to be a Chicago Bear to the fans, and you want to do that and change it and be a part of that, I think there's a lot to be said about this signing culturally, what it means for the Bears, as well as on game days. TJ coming over here from the Eagles to the Bears. That's, if you grew up a Lance Briggs fan, that's great.
Yeah,
I think
don't buy the Lambo.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to watch though when you go to the Stidham thing, Shane, because the Jets are still in quarterback limbo, and so I think the Raiders are going to move awfully quick right now to add Jimmy G and take that off, and the Jets could be playing musical chairs and left with no one other than Zach Wilson, QB number 1.
Yeah, and you saw the SI.com article this morning from Albert Breer talking about that the Bears were in serious negotiations with Vegas for number 1.
Yeah.
But the separator was, and I know people are going to say, well, what about Devontae Adams? He's not. The Bears want a guy that's going to be here long term, that's got a very nice contract moving forward, that's descending. So, and I don't even think that Vegas was interested in moving off of Devontae, but they didn't have the young ascending wide receiver that's got a cost control contract. So that was the separator, and they ended up making the deal with Carolina. So it's going to be interesting. And this defensive tackle market seems like it's
Cornelius is right. Defensive linemen are the juice that runs defenses. I mean, you don't get pressure on a quarterback. Especially this one on top of it. the Chicago Bears and every other organization is going to pay over asking. It's almost like the housing market back last spring, cars. It's like,
oh yeah,
I'm trying to
it's
buy
insane.
a house. I'm putting a bid on it 30,000 over, and people are outbidding me there. So,
oh, it's been insane. I mean, it's super crazy the way like that everything is just inflated and gone up and up and up. And Shane, to your point, the main reason we would have done it if the Raiders would have given us Devontae, I have no question, except it would have taken an accelerated $17 million of additional cap space away from the Raiders. And it's the only reason they weren't in the game, because of the way, and you guys remember, it was last March that DJ signed that extension with Carolina. And we were all pretty upset about that extension. We had hoped to get a shot at him. And so that deal was super team friendly when it was signed, that they took that entire hit right away. So it's pretty much clear cap. It would not have been for the Raiders, and that's why he would have gone.
Yeah, Adrian, why not draft a 3-tech? You sign one and you draft one. It's pretty clear
go
for
in
me.
with house money, Adrian.
Gabriel is saying that McGlinchey is a Bear. Greg Gabriel just tweeted out that that he is a Bear.
Shannon Schrader is saying it's a Bear. I don't know if any of our wannabe insiders. No names.
Let me look up Usaid's account real quick.
He's still saying. I don't know if you guys know this, but linebacker is a need for the Bears. I don't know. Like, can you do the breaking news drop, because nobody knew that ahead? So the Bears may look into signing a linebacker, and the prophet himself called it with TJ Edwards. So Usaid is just 1-for-1, batting 1,000 already. So
I think Greg Gabriel also retweeted a fake Adam Schefter account, according to Juice in the Pocket.
Oh, yep. There it is. It is a fake Schefter account. So Gabriel may have. Oh my God.
See, that's why we do this stuff here. We have a lot of fun, but we don't try to portray insiders. I got plenty of sources on my phone. I can check in with them, but they've told me all these different things. And you know what? There's one person that said, hey, keep an eye on TJ Edwards of my peeps. And they ended up being right. So out of the 15 that other guys I have, none of them said TJ Edwards. So
it wasn't a name that got mentioned a lot, right? It was always Okereke, or it was really more Okereke. We were willing or wanting to will Edmonds as the move, but that was pretty shocking.
I'm going to tell you, shit in your hat and get the hell off the field.
But I mean, isn't there a legit shot at this point if they bring in Okereke along with Edwards, that paying both of those guys isn't going to be that far off of what Roquan is getting?
I believe
paying both of those guys.
Well, there's a huge need there at the linebacker position. Is there any way you guys could look at the depth chart of the Bears right now at linebacker? They got Sanborn.
Gabriel with an update.
Who else?
Sorry, guys. Fake Schefter account. I'm an asshole.
So Jonathan Jones got 2 years and $20 million to re-sign with the Patriots. So that's a deep, like, again, Jonathan Jones is a fantastic corner, but the corner market is not as inflated right now as the defensive tackle market. So I
would love a sneaky Jamel Dean signing for the Bears. I'm a huge fan of him.
I would just want that even more, so we don't draft one at 9. Every time I hear someone stump for a corner at 9, I think a part of me dies on the inside.
There's one corner I could be okay with at 9.
It's the same guy I'm talking about. Let's just say it, Christian Gonzalez.
Exactly.
Watching that guy track the ball, his head is like on a gimbal. It doesn't move. Doesn't matter if he's running forward or has his head turned back. It's the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Ryan Cox is
Silky
not
smooth.
happy with you for not mentioning the Illinois guy, so I think you both are off of his
Oh,
list
God.
right now. You know how Ryan gets.
Oh, yeah.
You know how Ryan gets with Illinois guys and people with butts in their profiles. So
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it's a little tricky.
Ryan
I'm
Cox.
trying to find the Maisie drop, Shane. Jesus.
Sweet.
I
Funny
need to
side
clip
note.
that. I keep forgetting it.
I'll send it to you because I have a clip of it because I literally sent it.
I sent it to my
We had a
father.
sleepover. We had a sleepover this weekend with the girl's friends, and she made us play that clip so her friends could see her on YouTube. So you know, it's a good time.
Look at that. She's becoming a star. I got
According to her, she's amazing. So she tells me all the time.
That's what I called her.
Amazing.
That was my nickname for her.
I can't tell her that that child already has her dad's ego. She does not need more.
You got
I'm gonna have to clip it. I have it. I have it. I just have to clip it up. But anyway, Chicago Bears so far have signed TJ Edwards. The Greg
the
Gabriel.
Broncos are also in on McGlinchey per reports.
So there you go.
Now there goes the fucking price. That's.
But again, you know, the one thing that I do have to give Poles credit for is he sets maximum values on guys and players. And if they go over that, he's a guy that will walk away. And I do think, obviously, you always want to draft best available, but I can't picture a world where they are picking at 9, where Paris is not considered the best available player, right? Yes, there may be some other.
You can play anywhere on your fucking offensive line.
And so when you get to that point, yes, you would, you know, he's got to keep that in the back of his mind as well. So I would say that if the deal goes over 14 million, that he's out. That would be my take.
I hope so, because I understand the thought process behind it, but my point is free agency is a minefield anyway. When you're going to be overpaying for a guy and you have to concern yourself with the injury history, you may as well do this.
Maisie has a message for us all.
Here we go. Here we go.
All right, Maisie, go ahead.
Go sit in the hat.
Yes. Clip it. Best drop ever.
For whatever reason, DCFS showed up the next day to my house. So I'm not really sure why that happened, but I'm sure we'll figure that out.
Okay, we have some breaking news here.
We got a boom from Andy Spencer.
Former Eagles defensive tackle Javon Hargrave has reached a 4-year, $80 million deal with $40 million guaranteed with the San Francisco 49ers.
Wow.
Oof.
Wow.
So I'm sorry, how much?
4 for 80 and 40 guaranteed.
So that is your
that's
cap.
Gonna push. Yeah, that's pushing
Draymond Jones down. So
now you are. It's probably going to come down to Cleveland versus Chicago for Draymond, and Draymond is from Cleveland. They, like I said, they cleared 36 million. So we'll see. But I'm pleasantly surprised with those numbers not being ridiculous.
I would have thought they would have. I would have thought and those numbers should have been more in the Daron Payne region. Mm-hmm. So that's a big win.
Wow. That was a guy I wanted here. And he helps out that franchise now with Bosa and those guys. That's a big signing for them. It says it's 84 million.
So it's just been updated.
Okay.
You know, that's, I mean, again, kudos to San Francisco. The cynic in me just basically.
Wait, guys, we have some more breaking news. Just Curious is reporting that Hargrave is going to San Francisco.
Thanks for that. The 49ers are still the most injury-riddled team I've ever seen in my entire life. and this is all because the Kinlaw draft pick has never worked out.
Right.
So my first thought goes into, at his age, and the way that the injury report always works for
Diana Rossini, breaking news. Offensive tackle Mike McGlinchey is now a Denver Bronco.
Wow.
Ooh.
Yes,
wow.
Diana Rossini. And it's been retweeted by Adam Schefter.
So this gets a little scarier right now, right? So
because you lost
two of your targets. So how desperate do they get?
Well, you have.
They're going to call about Tunsil now. A guarantee they're calling about Tunsil
I think
now.
that the Bears very well. Listen, McGlinchey may have pivoted to Denver because of that reason completely, Cars.
Yeah,
the Bears
absolutely
could be in. I don't know how the fuck you're not involved in that.
Laramie Tunsil, man. That's my guy.
We'll send him. We'll throw Bratcher in the deal.
Guys, 22 minutes in, or an hour and 22 minutes, and it's over. It's over.
Chubbs.
Yeah. Anyway,
Cole got his ass whooped.
Yeah, and clearly
my number one tackle still out there in Orlando Brown. You get him or Laramie Tunsil, all of a sudden getting your ass whooped has changed. Rocky Balboa got up. Remember the fight?
Yeah. And we can't
Chubbs wanted Mitch Trubisky tagged at one point. So take that, L. Chubbs.
I think it's
give me a parameter, Cars, of a possible deal for Tunsil.
So because of where he is, and because of the fact that this is the last year on his deal, you are probably looking at multiple second round picks, right? So you're probably looking at one of the second round picks you acquired this year, probably one next. You may be looking at a third or fourth, but where he is contract wise doesn't do him a heck of a lot of favors. So that's where I would expect maybe they get a late round one from someone. Kansas City, you really have to watch. They could easily go through and make that deal.
And let's be honest, guys, maybe they aren't in the trade market. They could be negotiating with Orlando Brown right now. We don't know.
It's
the other tackle, the Taylor and the kid from the Falcons. I had both of those guys over McGlinchey, in all honesty. So McGlinchey, to me, I said on the show, the patron show yesterday, he's not the same talent as Mike Glennon. It's an upgrade. It gave me that feeling, Cars.
Oh, yeah.
They're settling for this guy that's, and I was going to show the tape today to show you, okay, he's got some positives, but there are real concerns about it. So I think you avoid something here. I really do.
And I think, again, look at the numbers.
I'm not upset at all with
this. Not pissed. I'm more upset about Hargrave.
Yes, that's a loss. But again, right, look at the numbers. If this is 18 plus million,
I can't wait to see his.
Then polls bow it out, because nobody could offer more money. The thing we need to keep reiterating is he is conservative with the price book, not because he doesn't want to spend, but he knows that every extra million that he spends on McGlinchey is money he doesn't have for the guard from Philadelphia, money he doesn't have for a TJ Edwards. So he is going to be particular. He would probably overspend for Orlando because of the skill set and talent, but why overspend for a middle player when it's going to impact every other move that you need to do? This is not a cheapness thing whatsoever. This is just a financially responsible way that they're doing this.
I can't agree with you more. I'm telling you guys, I'll go toe to toe with any, and this is just me. I don't give a shit how you take it, with any offensive line guru. I will go toe to toe. I will say this. Anybody saying Orlando Brown doesn't fit the Bears scheme, then the Bears scheme is wrong, because he's 6'8", 340 fucking pounds, And he just did in the Super Bowl against the defense that no one could stop. He stopped Sweat, who beat the Evan living shit out of Braxton Jones. He did everything imaginable. He took Hargrave and took him 14 yards into the secondary. This is a guy that the ceiling is so high and the foundation is there. He can scoop block in the outside zone. He can get to the outside. He can run the bubble screen. And if you're worried about him doing it all the time because he's so big, then you could always motion the tight end Cole Kmet like you did on the right side. So you didn't do it with Riley Reif, and you block with him. This is a huge guy. The best free agent in free agency is Orlando Brown. So go get him. I hope. But to say he doesn't fit the scheme, to me, is negligence, because it's not true. In fact, I think you might know a former captain who punched a few tackles in the face. Offensive left tackles do not grow on trees. Anyone saying that Orlando can't do anything, Orlando will prove it himself. So you might have to pay him. You might have, like you said, but I would rather have Orlando than McGlinchey.
Oh, 100%. And don't forget the Bears, all of DJ Moore's money this year is salary. There's nothing else. So if push comes to shove, the Bears can convert some of that salary into a bonus structure. They can move things around. They can already start working on a modified extension for him because they like him and he's young. So just because they came into this with 75 and now you're sitting at about $68-ish million in cap, they could go free up another 10, 15 million by converting some of this into a bonus that makes an Orlando Brown signing not impact something else. So there is ways to move money, and it makes sense.
So here's the numbers. Mike McGlinchey, 5-year deal, $87.5 million with $50 million guaranteed.
5-year, you lost me.
Yep.
5-year,
right
absolutely.
As the show began, bro.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Can't do it.
Awful deal. You can't. That guy at 5 years is like signing a quarterback you just traded for.
I didn't love it at 3 years, Carr. So I didn't love it at 3 years.
I could have digested it at 3 years because that's giving
3 years with a 1 year out. All day, every day, all day.
5 years is what Denver gave him in order to get him. I guarantee you that in the comfort. So somebody had asked in the chat, do players like shorter term or the longer term? Every player that's opening signing in free agency wants the years to be up.
Because Hargrave, I was expecting to be in the realm of a 3-year deal. And so when you look at these 4th years, what they're doing is a lot of these end up being void years. So yes, overall, the last year of a contract doesn't truly matter, except it does create cap holds of void years for when you restructure. So it is, in the instance of San Francisco, they're in win now. So they'll do whatever it takes, and they'll take that hit now. We are building for the future.
That's when fuck a cap is real.
Yes.
It should be real.
When you are trying to win, it's that. Right now, you're trying to build the foundation with young guys that you think can be here for when you're good, and you have the flexibility to make these signings. That McGlinchey deal is 17.5 for McGlinchey, puts him in the top 5 among right tackles. Top 5 right tackle Mike McGlinchey is an awful signing.
So the Lions are signing corner Cam Sutton to a 3-year deal. And this one's going to piss off Chubbs too. The Falcons have just agreed to a 3-year deal with punter Bradley Pinion. So Chubbs, I'm sorry to break that.
Well, now, listen, the best tweet I just saw was from Patrick Finley, who said, and I quote, "So it took exactly 85 minutes of free agency for some Bears fans to freak out that the team didn't sign every single player."
It's not even just Bears fans. What's his oh man, I'm blanking.
The only reason I'm freaking out is I spent an hour and a half cutting McGlinchey tape this morning. So Thank God I got.
And what
so
if
Cam Sutton gets 3 years, $33 million with 21.5 guaranteed from Detroit.
if you folks want to laugh as fans, go look up Mike McGlinchey on YouTube and watch all the 49er fan breakdowns of how they can't wait for him to get off their team. And that was literally like the first 15 videos that you look when you look through those things. That's dodging a bullet. That is massively dodging a bullet at that amount of money.
Benjamin Albright. Well, this was from 12 minutes ago, right before he signed. Broncos facing stiff competition for McGlinchey from the Bears. Broncos may pivot to McGarry or Taylor, but obviously that's not true. So that'll give Ben another reason to shit on Chicago, I'm sure.
I don't want to hear that we haven't gotten better. It's fucking 90 minutes into free agency. You guys are the type of people that book an hour with a linebacker. You book an hour with a woman and you're done.
Yeah, did we just pull off one of the biggest trades in some time, like just a couple days ago, like on fucking Friday?
And we have not done enough of how big DJ Moore is going to be for this franchise. And I cannot wait until it pops off week 1. The first team, whoever it's to, you're going to see some sort of post route with DJ Moore very early in the game. And you're just going to see why he's there.
Well, Cars, we did break
the tone. Our tone didn't change on.
No.
Yeah, not ours. We
opened up the show immediately.
Didn't love it.
Confessing that it was like, I said it was like Mike Glennon, that news. Like,
can we just address this real quick, Cars? I'll let you go here so I don't have my head explode live on air.
So yes, if Roquan wanted $6.5 million a season, he would be a Bear. TJ Edwards is getting 1/3 a year of what Roquan is. And similar, especially when you look at last year and passes defended and forced fumbles and fumble recovery and tackles for losses, we're getting very similar production for 1/3 of the cost. So yes, 19.5 sounds a lot, except that's what Roquan's getting a year, and we are doing it over 3. Give me a break.
Yeah, Phil was never all in on
you could tell him the truth.
Yeah,
how many conversations where you're having to talk to me?
Yeah, we have, guys, the way that running this network works is if we sign McGlinchey, we wanted to have tape ready to go for you guys. There was a lot of smoke around that. There was nobody on this network anywhere that I know of that was full bore into signing Mike McGlinchey whatsoever. So I that's probably just somebody trying to razzle you a little bit.
I look at what's happened so far, and I am shaking my head over and over. Like when you look at, again, at some of these deals, whether it's McGlinchey, whether it's the amount of money that's just getting thrown around right now, all of these teams have really bad cap. And so what they've done is they've really just said, all right, we'll keep with the bad cap and we'll figure it out later. And if you're the Atlanta Falcons and you have all this cap space, and I love the Lidstrom extension, but every other move they've made, you're like, what the hell are you doing? You have to have some level of responsibility. I understand it'd be a lot better if we had 14 guys signed right now and we'd all be giddy, but it's not the right thing. You have to get improved, and the Bears will still make improvements. It's very difficult to not get better than Larry Borum was last season. If that is the bar that we're considering is an issue in hurdling, then you are watching the wrong sport. So this team is not going to get built today. It is going to get built today through the end of the draft, and we just need to maybe relax a little bit. Maybe.
I cannot
believe
they gave him that much money. I'm like nervous that could have potentially happened. I would have been sick to my stomach.
4 years would have started, like we said earlier. I would have been okay with a 3-year, like a 1 or 2 year out. A 5-year deal with all that guaranteed. That for a team that is cap strapped, right? Because of the Wilson deal, they did not, coming into this, have a ton of space. They had $33 million in space, and they basically filled that space with a guard and a tackle, and the tackle's not worth it. So we'll see.
So just want to do a quick recap, Phil. I know Caden sent this over. Bears, TJ Edwards, free agent linebacker from the Philadelphia Eagles, undrafted free agent out of Wisconsin, signed a 3-year deal for $19.5 million. The guarantees were what, $12 million on TJ's. So he is going to be your starting Mike backer in this Eberflus offense. The Bears, by all reports, are still involved with Okereke to be their will backer in this cover 2 system that Eberflus stands by. So it's going to be interesting. Guys, don't overreact to every single signing. This is free agency is filled with pitfalls and minefields, and you end up paying, A-list, A+ prices for, B and C level talent. Overall, Ryan Poles is going to do his biggest damage, hopefully, in the draft. He's loaded up with some picks there. We got DJ Moore back on a descending contract, so that's great. There's going to be a couple big signings left here, though. We know that the Bears have to spend. It's going to be interesting to see how everything is pivoted, but I think we just dodged a huge bullet with McGlinchey.
And I think the way to look at that is, if everybody remembers, it was 2 off seasons ago, New England went absolutely berserk in free agency. That's when they signed Henry. They went after Jonnu Smith. They spent $290.
Traded.
And they just traded him for a 7th rounder today.
Yes.
Jonnu Smith.
They spent $295 million 2 years ago. And you know what they've done since then? 18 and 16 with 0 playoff wins or appearances, right? So again, when you look at these things, when you look at these moves, you can get better, but just because we didn't go out and blow our load 2 minutes in doesn't mean that we're not going to do this. This isn't accepting mediocrity. This isn't that we refuse to spend. I'm tired of seeing that about the Bears. The Bears have never been, at least for the last 15 years, have not been a cheap franchise. They've just spent poorly. They've spent a lot of money, and they've spent it poorly. This is what they're trying to undo. They will spend the money, but they're trying to be smart about it so that they aren't sitting here in 3 years having to restart and kick $80 million of dead fucking cap into the books because they fucked themselves with bad deals. That's what they're trying to do. We just need to understand. Please stop calling them cheap. It's not who they are. They aren't.
Go shit in the hat.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. That is the move. That child is brilliant.
I'm going to tell everybody in school, if you want to see my dad on YouTube, to say on it TTNL Bears.
What does the TTNL stand for?
The tape never lies.
There you go.
Spokeswoman right there.
She might have to get her own show.
That's my Flavor Flav. Same size too. Same size as him too. So it's really fascinating.
You got to get her a big clock to wear around her neck.
Done.
Listen, the Chicago Bears, as you put, I was trying. That's what I was doing, setting those two up and getting the graphic that our guy, producer Caden Whitlow, has created here. There he is, TJ Edwards. The tape never lied. We're going to be breaking down TJ Edwards on our network, his tape, showing you what he is going to bring to the Chicago Bears. Hits, loafs, and the stunt 4-3 cover 2 defense in the Chicago Bears. 3 years, $19.5 million. You're getting a linebacker with great instincts and determination that scrapes, strikes, and finishes each and every time. That's what the Bears have opened up with. I know a lot of worry and doubt comes in to these big names, but listen, I will keep it 100 with you. I was very concerned. I will say Orlando Brown is a fit. This isn't OJ's black glove. This is football. And the reality is you're looking at a guy that's 6'8", 340 pounds, who's an athlete and can move. If you don't think that's an upgrade to Braxton Jones on the left side, then I don't know what to tell you. Philosophy-wise, anybody have an understanding of Luke Getzey's offense right now is full of shit, because basically you were playing with a potpourri of pussies. That's really what it was. So now you got to get.
Can someone clip that? Potpourri of pussies is a fantastic statement, and I feel like
we might have to. Acevedo's got to make that a T-shirt.
Yeah, that is.
Well,
that is just glorious. That is glorious. Yeah.
2023 Bears need to be a bunch of gangsters up there, a lot of pricks, and that's what Ryan Poles was pointing out when his first free agent signing was Lucas Patrick. That's what they're looking for. So I'm not stressed at all about McGlinchey. In fact, I was very concerned about it. And I end up getting to this point where the Chicago Bears aren't winning.
Your words to me yesterday about a McGlinchey deal was, to me, that's a huge red flag for Ryan Poles and Ian Cunningham if that's their clear target and they overpay him.
There it is.
And again, that's what gives me comfort, because absolutely the Bears were given the opportunity to exceed that deal. That's the way these negotiations go. They would go back to them and say, Denver's offering us 5 for 87.5. Will you beat that? And the Bears clearly said no. So if that is the case, we need to take that as a victory, right? Like, that is the prudence that we're looking for from this front office. Spend money where it makes sense. Do not overspend.
That's where they are right now. Obviously, a lot of rumors out there, a lot of stuff. But if you're just tuning in, Hargrave went to San Francisco. That was a guy that I am disappointed. I wanted Hargrave here. I thought he'd bring a lot to the Bears, but he's out there in San Fran chasing that Super Bowl ring right now. He's going to be
God
excellent.
They have Trey Lance there, so that'll help them out a tremendous amount.
Purdy, you're not a Purdy?
Oh, I love Purdy, but I don't think he's actually a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He's just he's a great game manager type, which is honestly what San Francisco needs with how loaded that defense is. But I still think they're going to be in a place sooner rather than later where San Francisco is going to have to move on from Ayuk. So that's another move I'm waiting to see what happens.
That's a really good football player in Ayuk.
Yes, absolutely. But when you look at where San Fran is right now, I don't know how they fit him in because of where they have in cap space. Like, they just didn't have it. They'll figure it out. But when you look at like positional spending, this team is 6th overall on defensive spending before this signing. So they are the old school Ravens team, right? Built to control the clock and destroy you with their defense.
If you are just tuning in, we are free agency frenzy day. What do they call it? The period legal tampering period of free agency is going on right now. So a lot of these rumors and everything that's out there right now all can change. That's the one thing you get concerned with. Somebody could change their mind. We've seen it many times before where players agree in principle to a term, but until that fax or PDF file, whatever the latest technology up in contract signing is on the dotted line, there's no sure thing, and it can't be sure until Wednesday, which we will be live again, breaking down free agency here at TTNL Live. We wanted to go live today to show you what a pop-up show is on our Patreon side, and also let you know if you are living under a rock as a Bears fan, Chicago Bears did make the first move of the offseason in trading the number 1 overall pick to the Carolina Panthers and acquiring the 9th pick, their 2nd round pick this year, a 1st round pick next year, a 2nd round pick in 25, and a number 1 wide receiver in DJ Moore, which, oh, by the way, was the almost instrumental piece that Ryan Poles determined that he wanted in a trade, that young number 1 wide receiver. We talked about it, Cars, with Josh Allen and the Stephon Diggs comparisons. We talked about it with Hurts and getting A.J. Brown, and how important having that dog at wide receiver, which Steve Smith, I mean, I couldn't.
You talk about dog.
Yeah,
that guy was
he
amazing.
Says, his quote was, DJ Moore is my spirit animal. So when you get that kind of player in here, that's a free agent signing, which, oh, by the way,
real quick, Phil, Jimmy Garoppolo closing in on a deal with the Las Vegas Raiders.
All I ask for in this NFL season is Zach Wilson competing for a starting gig with the New York Jets. That is all I want and dream for. That's all I care about. I'd call me a cynic, but I would just love for that to happen. The other portion is I want Aaron Rodgers to be like, no, I want to go play in Green Bay and watch how that whole entire organization freaks out about it.
If you're not a patron, go over there. We did the DJ Moore show yesterday, breaking down the All 22 live with Shane, Coach O, and myself, going up on the telestrator to show exactly what Cars is talking about, how he can get to the stem of the route and create separation and then burst out of his breaks to give a quarterback a clean target to hit down the field. He has great tracking ability. I mean, I showed you everything you could do. Body control, fearlessness, blocking at the run point, as well as in the bubble screens at the line of scrimmage. You could see why he's Steve Smith's spirit animal. So before Chubbs throws up the white flag that we've lost, I think getting DJ Moore and the draft haul that we've gotten is a 1st round knockout in matchup 1. Now we start free agency. You got to love the signing. And thank you, Caden Whitlow of linebacker TJ Edwards. Comes in from Wisconsin and Illinois boy. In Chicago, raised a Bears fan, waited in line 2 hours to get Brian Urlacher's autograph, is a huge Lance Briggs fan. Those fabric stories, momentum and love for the franchise mean a lot. And when you have players that understand how much it means to a Ben Ricketts or a Jose Torres that are in the stadium each and every Sunday screaming and yelling, they go to another level. I'm excited about this signing. Go ahead, Cars.
No, I think the thing I'm going to be watching is I sadly like the Cam Sutton signing for the Lions. So I think, this offseason looks like us and Detroit basically in an arms race for the division lead. So I think that's going to be interesting. Sutton is a really nice pick they have terrible corners out there. So that's going to be that move is definitely because of the DJ Moore pickup. So I think let's just see what continues to happen, but I'm not going to freak out until after the draft. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, it's gonna tell the story. We go corner at number 9. You'll see a complete meltdown by me live on air. Not gonna love it.
Maybe they sign a corner in a few hours.
And go out and sign Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and bring him And
Yeah, but I mean,
Dodgers
Shane, I think you're
defense.
missing out. Like, look what good it did the Baltimore Ravens to get the best player in the draft, Kyle Hamilton. So, that was a big.
Exactly.
Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry.
Yeah, transform any defense.
What about trading Eddie Jackson and signing Gardner Johnson? What are your thoughts there?
I think Eddie is more valuable to you than he is for anybody else. I don't think he's. What would his return be? A conditional?
You're not going to get
rounder?
much because
like a conditional fifth, maybe.
He's 17 million. I mean, Eddie's a cut in a year or two, right? Most likely. So there's just, when you look at what we got for Robert Quinn, that's like best case scenario if you trade Eddie Jackson. And it's not, again, it has nothing to do with the talent or the player when healthy. We all know what he is. But when you're old, you're injured, and you carry a high dollar amount, you just don't get the return that you used to. If Jalen Ramsey comes for a third and a tight end, you're not getting anything for Eddie. Sorry.
Well, right now we wait for the Bears to make another move. That's all you could do, and it'd be interesting. I don't know if 1920 Drive is going to show the free agency war room.
Yeah, they'll release that in August
of 2024.
I'm like, they have these things. How many? Couple of months apart, and then you get 11 minutes of. I mean, did I really need to see Luke Getsy saying, "You guys got to give your best"? Okay, cool, thanks.
And then you have Jeff Joniak's narration, Shane. I love that on top of it all.
I could listen to that man's voice at any point in time. Like, it's so historic for me. I don't care what it is, but that was as much of a nothing burger as I've ever seen released with such fanfare too. Like, right. Like we're not even releasing it until 10 o'clock in the morning tomorrow on YouTube. Like that's it. Okay. That's nothing.
So Jimmy
all right, gents.
Real quick. Ahead. Jimmy G got 3 years, $67.5 million with $34 million guaranteed in Vegas.
Wow.
Jeez. Wow. Say that again.
3 years, $67.5 million, including $34 million guaranteed. But that's what happens when you try to consummate a deal for number one to get your guy. You have to go back to the stale cookies so you can get something to eat, and that's what you're getting with Jimmy.
Yeah, that's exactly. I got to agree with Rekka. I think Kevin Warren's got to do some work in this social media department.
It got a little better briefly, and then it's gone right back in the shitter.
There's so much there that they miss. That's the problem. There's so much there. And I totally laugh because you guys read my mind. Seeing Getsy, we gotta be. I'm like, what are these clips here? Like, show them in the locker room actually talking to the players. Give me something. But
and
your son is chiming in, Cars. Hopefully we get Harden. I hope too.
I hope we do too, son. It's really good to see you. Call your mother; she worries. All right, gents, I got to drop because I got to get back to work here, but it was good to see you. Let's hope something more comes, but thank God we didn't overpay for McGlinchey.
Oh, thank you. That was my fear. Your son and I had a conversation this morning about it. I'm like, hey, it is what it is. I don't like it, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Absolutely. Otherwise, we're going to be potpourri of pussies. So have a good one.
See you, man.
Cars, the Bears Nerd. Follow him on Twitter at Bears Nerd for all the fun and games and insight from Matt Carstensen, Chicago Bears, and the 2023 football season is on the cusp of beginning now. And
here's another one.
Where we are.
a guy that I thought maybe the Bears might look at, Andrew Wiley, right tackle from the Kansas City Chiefs, has a 3-year, $24 million deal with the Washington Commanders. Started 59 games in 5 years for Kansas City. He had the game of his life in the Super Bowl against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Who was that? I'm sorry, I was reading.
Andrew Wiley, the right tackle for the
Wiley.
Kansas City Chiefs. Yep.
Yep.
Solid. I mean, not a spectacular player. I would have been interested in Wiley over McGlinchey when you're talking that money.
What did Washington pay him?
3 and 24. 3 years, $24 million.
Okay.
Yep.
Listen. And I forgot you got Eric Bieniemy there. You're 100% right. Finding one of his guys that understands. That's important when you're putting in your philosophy to have some guys there that can act as teachers as well that have been in it. But again, the Chicago Bears, I think, are swinging for big Orlando Brown. I really do.
It would make sense. I don't
understand why you wouldn't. I really don't. With everything we talked about, we even talked former Bear Big Steve Edwards into our thinking.
Yeah, I mean,
on the show here live.
I don't see the downside in it other than money. Is he the best left tackle in pro football? No, he's not. But he's a guy that can still be ascending. He's 26 years old, 4-time Pro Bowler. And I always laugh when people say that he's not a fit. And I know that's been the big thing going around. He fits blocking for Lamar Jackson. He fits blocking for Patrick Mahomes. But don't bring him to Chicago because he don't fit here.
God forbid.
Just like Phil said. If he doesn't fit your system, change the fucking system.
Exactly. It's just that simple. Get to the point of getting better as a franchise. The Chicago Bears need that so bad to get this front line and that interior. They're not out of the game here, so to speak. But I really, truly, and this is Shane's never going to lie to protect me. I just really felt like you're doing it wrong if you went out there and signed McGlinchey to 5 years and paid him big money. He's not a pillar piece. He's good.
He's serviceable.
Up and down.
Correct. Serviceable is a correct label. And the bad part about it is people were getting excited about serviceable because that's a massive upgrade for you. That's how bad your offensive line has been. Aim higher. Aim higher.
Aim higher.
I mean, yes, serviceable is an upgrade. That's fine. We can do better. I'm glad Denver ponied up the money and locked him in because 5 and 87.5 and 50 guaranteed. No way.
I'm with you 100%. I am disappointed that we didn't strike a deal with Hargrave. I don't know if the Bears were involved in that. Did you hear anything in that regard that they were involved, or has it just been about Draymond Jones? And now you're competing with Cleveland, who cleared up all this space because they want to go heavy after him. And then what are you doing? Sometimes the best move is the one that doesn't happen and you sign somebody else, and that is where you're at. You got to have some sort of price. Now, as far as Laramie Tunsil is concerned, I don't know the draft capital that you're going to trade for him, but you just made a big trade, so you have ammunition to play with to get a pillar left tackle.
It's going to be interesting because you'll see a team like Kansas City directly involved, and they would have no problem. That's what they did with Orlando Brown. They flipped their late one. Can you get creative? We'll see. We'll see what happens. You have to be involved if he's available. You have to check into it and see what's going on. Braxton Jones, like him, he's got to develop. None of these guys are good enough where you're saying, all right, we're locked in there, we're good. don't have to worry about it. You get Laramie Tunsil, he's that guy.
Without a doubt.
He's the foundation, the foundational piece of your entire offense at this point, along with Justin Fields. Those two guys.
I would have drafted him years ago when it went to, what was it, Scuba Gear Gate, whatever it was. But Shane Leatherwood, he is a non-factor in any of this. The opportunities that he got were clear and evident that they tried to do something with him. But
I think that they'll give him the offseason, much like Braxton Jones, to improve and get a handle on it. His mono, that obviously slowed him down, but he's not a factor in any. He's not a consideration with you improving your ball club. He's there, and if he steps up, he steps up. If he doesn't, then he's a piece that you just keep as a backup, as a maybe, or he's cut, or somebody flips you a 7th round draft pick for him, and thinks that they can unlock him. But yeah, he's nothing more than a maybe. Maybe.
What do you want to do? What do you want to do here? Do you want to pause and come back?
Yeah, I mean, nothing's going on right now. Obviously, I think that they're probably involved with a couple of these big money guys. You're talking about Draymond Jones, if it is Orlando Brown.
We'll take her out.
And that's going to be, that could take some time. But yeah, I mean, I got no problem. We can bounce back in when we
go to lunch, because I want to get something to eat.
Yeah.
And then if anything else happens, we'll come right back here at TTNL. If you're not a patron, I don't know what to tell you. I've been honestly asking for the cost of you. And I did this scenario, Shane, this weekend. I'm going to film it the next time. I went up to Dunkin' Donuts. I ordered 2 large coffees, one for me, one for the wife, right? It came out to $8.39. I go, $8.39 for 2 large coffees. No, nothing special. Hazelnut coffees. My wife wanted oat milk, so maybe that's 30 cents more, Dustin. But this is where we are in this world. So the cost of 23 cents a day to help support this network and all the stuff we got going on in here, become a patron. Right in that DVR box, you can go watch our analysis. Top of the line, I'd be willing to bet. No highlights. This wasn't taking his highlight reel of DJ Moore. We were watching random tape to show you everything he brings to the table, and we'll be doing that with TJ Edwards as well.
And so real quick, Phil, here's a little update on Laramie Tunsil from Aaron Wilson, who's as locked in as anybody. Texans Pro Bowl left tackle Laramie Tunsil has been discussed in a potential trade scenario with the Kansas City Chiefs, according to league sources. Fluid situation on whether it happens, however. Chiefs potentially retaining Orlando Brown Jr. has not been ruled out by the Chiefs source.
Wow.
Yep.
We're going to be watching this. It's simple. Yada Zaka Eric S. It's the tapeneverlies.com. You just go there, sign up, and you're in. And you get pop-up shows like this. We'll probably be back later, probably right when we go to eat, take our first bite. We'll be back with a big news signing. That's just the way this.
And the way that this will work, guys, so everybody doesn't melt down, we have to schedule a specific time that we're going to be going live. So when
don't listen to Jackal.
I will reschedule this show, and then we'll reschedule it for 11:55 p.m. And that makes it so whenever news breaks, you and I can come to the studio, go live immediately. So don't pay attention to the start time so much. Just know if you're looking at your phone and you see Bears news break, within a couple of minutes, maybe even seconds, we will be here to break it all down for you.
Yes, and there's several shows on the patron side. You got the Masters class with Coach L breaking down scheme and philosophy, numbering systems when it comes. Any question any patron has about football and coaching and personnel usage, that's there. Then you got X's with the O's, breaking down every free agent signing with tape, telestrating, and showcasing the truths about the signings, as well as Draft Mob, breaking down all of the possible potential draft choices, whether they be in the 4th round or the 1st round, looking at tape for truth, all of that on our patron side. I hope you guys enjoy the show. We'll be back later. Don't listen to Jackal. Just follow Shane. He'll keep you posted when we'll be live again.
Former our guy Chase Winovich on the move.
Oh, is he? Where's he going?
Houston Texan.
Look at that. Chase Winovich, Michigan. Go blue. Where's HL? Where's HL? We'll be back later. Love you guys. If anything breaks, jump right back in with us. For Shane Marsaw, I'm Draft Dr. Phil. This has been a special pop-up show on TTNL.